Hey everyone, it is time for the June garden tour, and I feel like I should say the thing that I think I say at the beginning of almost every single one of these monthly tour videos. May went by so quickly. So May is definitely, I would say, the busiest month planting wise for me, and then there's still some planting that I'll be doing this month, but our last frost date usually falls sometime in May. It's definitely been a little bit warmer. I have some flowers blooming that are not typically blooming in early June this year, so that's really exciting. This is going to be the first garden tour of this year where I split the front deck, which is where we're on right now, and the back deck into two separate videos. Until the garden's really planted up with a lot of plants, it doesn't take me that long to show you around, but now that out here all my raised beds are full, I think the front deck is closer to being fully planted compared to the back deck, but there's a lot more to show you now, and I don't want to make an hour-long video. I want to be able to go through all of the plants that I'm growing and give you all of the information that I can. So, welcome to my June garden. Now, if this is one of your first times here watching one of my garden tours, I do have two 18 by 19 square foot decks, and the deck that we're on right now I call my front deck because, well, it faces the street, the front of our house, and this gets the full afternoon sun. So there are actually some plants that I can only grow on my back deck, which has the morning sun, which is a little bit less intense. It is still full sun, but not the intense afternoon heat. Whereas here, these plants are getting blasted with the afternoon heat. There is not a lot, I mean, there's some trees out there, but other than that, there's not a lot that's providing any shades. The plants up here have to really be able to tolerate the heat that we get in the summer. So with that, let me take you around and show you everything that I'm growing on my front deck. Let's start off with a sweep of the front deck. So I'm standing where I come out onto my deck from inside of our home, and this is the view that I see. Now, something I'm going to try to do differently this year, famous last words, is not plant as many pots, because I'm finding, now I know the plants are going to grow and fill in, but I'm finding that I'm really liking the amount of walking space that I have back here. So we will see if I stick to that or not. But usually I feel like if there's space, I need to fill it with plants. I'm trying not to do that this year, but I do have 6 raised beds out here, and this is the most raised beds I've ever had. I just planted up the 2 from Epic Gardening, which are the ones that look a lot newer in terms of the cedar wood color. But that's probably why I don't feel like you need as many pots, because I do have more raised bed growing space. The 4 here that look like they faded, because they have, are from Grownomics, and then the other 2 beds are from Epic Gardening. So we'll go ahead and start here in the center raised bed, which is where I typically plant my favorite plants, because again, this is what I'm going to see from inside of the house. Now, one thing with early June, like I said, I do have some plants that are blooming earlier than normal, but most of them aren't flowering yet. So it's kind of hard to see what these are going to look like, but I will obviously keep showing you them throughout the months, and then by July's garden tour, everything should hopefully, almost everything should be blooming. But in the center raised bed, I have 4 of the Super Tunia Vista bubblegums in each corner. They are very small right now compared to what they are going to eventually be, and I love these so much. I've planted them in this exact same location ever since I've had this raised bed, so since I think 2021, and I've been growing the Super Tunia Vista bubblegums ever since I really started gardening. So those go in the same section every year. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to put anything in the center, because typically the 2 Super Tunia Vista bubblegums will grow enough to meet each other. I've had them swallow up some plants in the past, so we'll see if I add anything there or not. And then the zinnias I planted are 4 different varieties of the Queen or Queenie lime series. I do still have the tags here, again, since they're not flowering yet. So in the front I have Queenie lime with orange, I have Queenie lime red, and then Queenie lemon peach, and then the other variety that I have is Queen lime with blush. Now we are starting to get some buds, and it looks like this one, which is a Queen lime with blush. Again, you can't really see much of it yet, but that is starting to open up, so I'm really excited. I mean, these are going to be blooming probably in the next few days. Now, I'm in the garden a lot for these videos, so you definitely will see them before the July tour, but I'm so excited. I'm probably going to be able to start making bouquets this month, the giveaway bouquets that I have downstairs, so I cannot wait. But that is everything that I have in this center raised bed here. Now, normally I start from the left, but I think I'm going to start from the right this time. and just, I don't know, kind of mix up the tour a little bit here. Down here, I have 3 more of the floret zinnias that I got. So these were the precious metals. They're new this year. I know that everyone is so excited about them. So I have 4 in the back deck, which you'll see in the back deck tour video, but I have 3 left over, and I don't have room for them. But just in case something happens to one of those 4, or if I do eventually find room for them, they are here. I have given away some other zinnias down just on the sidewalk, but these are so special that I want to keep them at least for now. Also, this flex hose. This is the 0G brand flex hose. I have found over the last few years that flexible hoses work the best in my garden because of all of the obstacles I need to get around. I don't really go straight with my hose for very far before I have to turn. So I really like the flexible hose. The only main issue is that they break, or the one I got from Amazon that was cheap broke. This is also from Amazon, but it's 0G. It was a brand that almost everybody recommended when I asked, and so far so good, but it hasn't been a full season yet, so I will let you know. My irrigation is not hooked up yet. That should be coming soon. Then first, in front of the bed, I have my Chicago Hardy fig. I got this from Stark Bros. It's still in a nursery pot because the place that I want to put this, well, I'm not 100% sure yet, so I'm kind of taking my time, but there is, I think you can see there, 1 fig already. And I mean, it's the Chicago Hardy fig, so I feel like I needed to get it for my Chicago garden. Something I am trying to do this year is to move a bit more slowly with my planting and really make sure things are in the best spot for them, the spot where I'm really going to love how they look, instead of just throwing plants everywhere, and the plants that I don't have space for, I'm trying to give them away. I have enjoyed it so far. I feel like I'm making better gardening decisions, although the impatient part of me is going a little crazy. But that's why some of the things aren't in their spots yet, although, like I said, this garden, the front deck, is much closer to being finished than the back deck is. In this raised bed behind it, this is one I chaos planted. So you probably just, I don't know if that was the last video or a couple videos ago before this tour, but I think this is going to be fantastic when everything is in flower. So on the corners, I have the Supertunia Vista Fuchsias. I did, since filming that, get some more parsley because I have some caterpillar friends. So they took over one of my parsleys. I got 3 more, and I've just kind of tucked them into the different beds. But other than that, I have zinnias. So I have either peachy colored zinnias, orange colored zinnias, purple colored zinnias. In here, the lilac Zinderellas are on the edges here. I have the Zinderella orange on the 2 sides, and then because I didn't label, one of these is a queen lime orange, one of these is a queen lime with blush, and then this one is a Zinderella peach. And then in the back, I have this one and this one are King Apricot Asters, and then I have the Caprose Pizzazz Dahlia. Again, those names will mean a lot more once you can see what they look like, and it's not just a bunch of green plants, but I'm really excited for this raised bed. Down here I have another dahlia. Now you're going to ask me what dahlias these are. So all 4 of these are ones that I overwintered last year in the garage. I will link down my video showing you how I overwinter my dahlias. It's super simple, but this was not what I got. So I think these were actually lilac, labeled as lilac thyme, but they ended up being red. So clearly not lilac thyme. So I don't know what the exact variety is. I'm hoping that they flower soon and we'll be able to see. I say hopefully they'll flower soon because last year was a very odd year for dahlias. I've had dahlias since, again, I think 2021. They typically bloom sometime in July, but last year it seemed like not only my dahlias, but a lot of dahlias of other people near here and in other parts of the country, the blooms were delayed. I think I had one that didn't even start blooming until September. Now, luckily they do last into the fall, until the killing frost, but it was just a very odd season for dahlias. So I'm hoping that this year, because I have the most I've ever had before, they do bloom kind of on their normal schedule. But these, like I said, were more of a bright red color, so definitely not lilac thyme, but I don't know what they are. Now in my lowest raised bed, you also saw me plant this one up recently. I have a mix here of some different plants. So I have the Mazurkia zinnias here, which are a combination of like red and pink on the petals, but again, no flowers to show you yet. Then I have 2 champagne hollyhocks that I got from Grow For Me Gardening. They sent me some seeds, so I am excited. I think they're supposed to bloom the first year, so I'm hoping we get some blooms. I also sowed the sunflower seeds, but I don't think any of them have sprouted yet. Hopefully that should be coming soon. And then I can't remember if in that video I did throw in the other asters and status or not. But I have status rose in the back corners. Both of those will be the same variety. And then I'm pretty sure this is the Tower Chamois aster. I had them. I wanted to put them in the beds, so I did. Will it be overcrowded? Maybe, but the sunflowers are single stem, so they don't go out very far horizontally. They just grow up tall vertically. So I think I'll be okay. Coming over here then are 2 more dahlias. Now these, I think, were labeled correctly. These should be Penhill watermelon. They are much further along than the other 2, so that's just interesting. I'm hoping the extra height means that they will flower sooner for me here. And then in front, I have the remainder of my seeds, which these will probably be given away because they're not any that I completely love and need, like the floret, but I do want to hold on to them just for now in case anything dies or I find a place to tuck them in. I have my miniature peach tree here. This was also from Stark Bros. Let me look up the variety. Honey Babe Miniature Peach. There are a few different places I'm thinking of putting this, but because I don't know 100% for sure yet, it is going to stay there for now. This raised bed behind it is kind of my purple and green bed. At least that's the plan. But I do have on the corners the Supertunia Vista Jazzberry, which is really pretty and will trail down the sides. I do have some oxalis that started growing early this spring, just coming out from between the slats, and I was like, you know what, that looks cool. I'm going to keep it. I also tucked in the 3rd parsley here as well into the center of the bed. The zinnias here are going to be lime green, which I am excited about. They are called Envy, so I'm assuming, you know, green with envy. And I think that's going to be a good complement to all of the Queenie lime series that I have, because none of the Queenie limes are like pure lime. The Queen lime with blush is the closest, but I'm envisioning bouquets, maybe with all 5 of those together, and I'm really excited. In here also, I do have the Hazaster light blue, Hazaster Hagen light blue. There's a lot of words in that name. China Aster, one there, and then I tucked another one back there in the corner. I, if you can tell, put some of the gladiolus bulbs that I got from Proven Winners back here because I didn't know where to put them. So I put them here. Now I'm pretty sure these will be pink. So I think that'll still go with my green and purple and bluish color scheme in here. And then I also have 2 2 status. One status there and one status there. I'm pretty sure these are the blue status. I'm not 100% sure, but if my labeling was correct, those should be the blue status. Now this was my native perennial bed originally. I'd sown some seeds in the fall. So anything that I think still is a native perennial and not a weed, like these, I'm letting grow and just seeing what happens. If it turns out they are a weed, I will pull them. If not, I will either leave them here or I might transplant them. I'm not sure yet, but I didn't want to get rid of anything that I wasn't 100% sure was a weed. Then we come over here to my veggie patch, which makes me really happy. So, well, I do have some flowers mixed in here as well, but look here, I already have a little baby cucumber. This is the Space Saver cucumber, so it's a dwarf variety from So Right Seeds. I'm so excited for this. It's not ready to be harvested yet, but it will be soon. And then I have 3 different varieties of sweet peppers. Basically, they're all the Sweet Canyon, but I have yellow up front, orange behind it, and red behind it. I think I might have mentioned this in the video where I planted up my veggie patch, but along the lines of, you know, taking time with planting, make sure that I'm really putting things where I want them. I'm also making sure that I'm only growing things I really love. Again, limited space. I don't want to waste something on, let's say, an eggplant that I grew for a couple years when I don't really love eggplant. Or okra. That was cool to grow and have some okra, but we barely used it. So that's why I've switched to I like sweet peppers better than jalapeno peppers. I use them more often. So that's why I've switched to only sweet peppers in my garden. And then the last one over there is a zucchini plant. So I have zucchini, 3 peppers, a cucumber. Then in the larger grow bags, in this first one here, I have basil. I also have, this is a tomato I did not start from seed. It was one from Burpee, but it is the unicorn red. I like cherry tomatoes better than like standard sized tomatoes in my garden, just because I don't have as many issues growing them. So again, if I don't have a ton of space, then I want to make sure I'm growing things that I don't usually have issues with. So that's what I'm doing. I also did sow in here, which haven't come up yet, but I did sow in here some nasturtiums and some marigolds. And actually, did these nasturtium seeds? I think these might be nasturtium seeds that popped up. So let's just squish you back down. Over here, I did add in, also from Burpee, the Everleaf lemon basil, because I love lemon flavored herbs, and lemon basil sounded fantastic. So I just put that in the front here. And then I have 4 giant binary zinnias, which will get easily taller than this wall. I have 2 of 2 different colors. So I have 2 coral and I have 2 wine. And those were just kind of my favorites from growing the mixes. So now I choose the colors that I like the best. And then this last grow bag here, the 30-gallon grow bag, is almost identical to this one, except the tomato variety is different. And this is one where I kind of swap my labels around. I know it's a cherry tomato, indeterminate tomato variety, but it's either gumdrop or one that has yellow fruit. And we'll see soon enough, because there are some tomatoes there starting to form. So I have also the basil up front. I did sow nasturtium and marigold, so hopefully those come up soon. That is my veggie patch. Then on this side of the pathway behind the center raised bed, I have one of my raspberry bushes and I have my rhubarb plant. We'll get to herbs in just a second, but over in this corner I have my other raspberry bush. Again, one of these, I can't remember which one now, was propagated from the other one. They both produce raspberries every year. They are the Heritage red raspberries. I got them from Stark Bros in like 2019 or 2020, the original one. But raspberries are very easy to propagate. This, on the left here, is what I'm calling a mystery plant. It started coming up in this raised bed, which I needed to plant with gomphrena, but I want to know what it is. So I took it out and I'm hoping it'll flower soon and I'll be able to identify it. I've asked with posting photos and I got a ton of different answers. So if this, as it gets larger, looks, I don't know, more familiar to you, please let me know. I also have some little maple seedlings popping up from these trees that think they're going to grow in between the cracks in my deck. So that's the kind of weeding I do in my garden. Now, as far as this raised bed, this is my gomphrena bed. And this is one where I've never had gomphrena flower this early. I think usually it happens in July, but I have, with the raspberry cream variety at least, a good amount of flowers here. Now, some of these look better than others, the gomphrena plants, and I did notice a difference between the 2 types of Jiffy peat pellets that I used. Now, this shouldn't be surprising, but I had 2 different size pellets, and the ones that were growing in the smaller ones, I should have repotted, but I didn't, and those are definitely more stunted because they didn't have as much room to grow than the ones that were in the larger pellets. I also started these 10 weeks before because they are one of my more slower growing annuals, but I'm gonna go back to 8 weeks because even though they are larger and starting to flower earlier, I don't think they liked being inside in those pellets for that amount of time. So I am gonna go back to 8 weeks before last frost for all of my gomphrena seeds for next year. To the left of the bed, because it fit, I have a pot here with 2 sunflowers, and these were actually volunteer sunflowers that were from this bed where I grow sunflowers every year. So they are the Sunrich Summer Provence sunflowers. Sunflowers don't always transplant the best. These were very dramatic for a few days, but they survived. And then I also threw in a black hollyhock. So those are definitely all spaced closer together than they should be, but I don't think the black hollyhock blooms the first year. So that's why I figured I would put it in there with sunflowers and we'll just see what happens. Then I have my final raised bed here, and this is the one that now has all of the perennials in it. So up front I have 2 prairie onions. Those I did start from seed. And then kind of around the edges, I can't remember the varieties because I got them last year, but I do have echinacea. In the back 2 corners are black-eyed Susan, rudbeckia. This is some sort of echinacea, and then that's another echinacea right there. And then these, I'm still not 100% sure what they are. So someone else said they think this is a lily. It looks very lily-like, so I think it is a lily. That means it was not something I started from seed, so I might remove that. And then I still can't remember which one that is. I think it's a milkweed, but we'll see as it gets a little bit taller. Oh, and then I did add in 2 of the new for 2025 perennials from Proven Winners. So Designer Threads Golden Needles, which I think I have to deadhead, which again isn't my strong suit to remember to do that. It does not say no deadheading necessary. And then touch of Blush Heliopsis Helianthoides. Those are really pretty, but these are the 2 that I decided to put in here. So I am interested to see how this bed does year after year. If things get too close together as they grow, I will transplant or divide or do something with them, but I am excited about the idea of having a bed that just comes back year after year. And then down below it I have my little tin of strawberries, and this is a bucket, metal galvanized bucket that I just drilled some holes into, and I think this one looks like it's ready to eat. This is my herb rack setup right now. I still don't exactly know what I'm doing with these 3, but last year I grew, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, because it fit perfectly on the available racks. This year I have more from all of the mint, but I am excited. So I'm still kind of figuring out this space and what I'm going to put where, but these are the herbs that I have. So top row, left to right, I have lemon thyme, garlic chives, basil mint, strawberry mint, regular thyme up here. Center row here I have leek, orange mint, chocolate mint. Bottom left is rosemary, oregano, lemon balm there in the center, pineapple sage, and apple mint. And then the 3 rogue ones right now are my banana mint, my lemon bergamot mint, and my pineapple mint. And behind the herb rack is my flower cart. This I got, was it just last year? No, 2 years ago, from Deer Park Ironworks. I wanted something that was pretty but also gave me more vertical space. It's also where I store, like you can see here, my watering cans, my old sunflower stalks that I use as supports in the garden. This is one of the areas where I kind of just threw extra plants over here last year, and I want to change it up. I think I'm gonna stick to like white flowers over here, make it look a little bit more calm. So down here in the bottom I have the Snow White Gomphrena, again blooming already, which is crazy to me, it makes me so happy. I do have one of the Floret Celosias here as well. Again, I think I'll put it over here somewhere, but it's just hanging out in the nursery pot until I figure out what I'm gonna do. There's nothing in that pot to the left. And then here, I think I've just kind of been setting plants where I think they're gonna go to see if I like them. And I think I like this. So I'm pretty sure that with the Silver Falls dichondras here, I don't know, because they will spread, I don't know if I'm gonna put all 4 in this planter box, or maybe 3 and 1 somewhere else, but I do think I'm going to include those over here. And then around the corner, well, what's trailing up my flower cart and will completely cover the roof very easily is my Morning Glory. Now we'll go around and I'll show you my little caterpillar friends in just a second. But this corner too is also my storage corner. I have my garbage bag. I have the extra cages I haven't used yet. This little metal tin is what I use to take my plant waste from this deck through the house to the back deck, where I have my tumbler composter. I have my aquapot lights that I'm going to put somewhere else. So anything that's kind of just left over gets tucked in this corner, or the things that I'm using in my garden. But now let me show you my caterpillars. And then over here is my little butterfly cage. So I had this cage last year, I never used it, but I just wanted to give the 2 caterpillars that are in here now, there were 3, 1 already left, but I wanted to give them just a little bit of extra protection because I did watch a wasp eat one last year, and I know it's a circle of life, but I was very sad. And I thought it would be interesting to actually watch them turn into butterflies. So I have 2 caterpillars in there now. Like I said, there was a 3rd one. It left a big pile of poop behind. So that might be, I don't know, hanging out under the deck or something like that. But I do have those two in there, and they have taken my parsley. That's why I had to buy more. So that is my front deck garden in early June. I'm so excited. So yeah, it feels good to have everything planted up in terms of the largest raised beds. I still out here need to work on my flower cart, but I'm really trying not to plant anything else out here, she said, knowing she was lying. But I really am trying to keep the open space that I have so I can easily move around and I don't feel too congested in my own garden. But this is my garden in early June. So that is the front deck. I will give you a tour of the back deck in the next video. But yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'm really excited about everything this year because I feel like every year, I learn a lot more, but I plant more of what I love, and that just makes me love my garden even more. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.